Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and here we have something very, very exciting, and I am absolutely loving this. This is the Kaviso Kirby Lambert Raine, and it's going to come in, or it comes in 5 different versions. Now, they all look amazing, and I gotta say, it's even priced extremely well for what you're getting, and I'm going to explain why. $259 for this, $259, but let me explain like why I think it's so priced so well. Well, one, it is done by React, and you can absolutely feel it's a React. I mean, it has some of the most amazing action you can expect from a large knife. We're going to bring this one back here in 1 second, but let's take a quick look at this one. We're going to talk about the other configurations here in a minute too. So we have a clipped point, so it drops and then it kind of clips down a little bit right here. Beautiful swedge, it looks gorgeous. Nice deep hollow ground recurved blade, and it's an S35 VM blade steel. Now we're going to talk more about that here in 1 second. Titanium bolster lock. This one's the burlap micarta, and this is very well done burlap micarta. Like, you can really see the weaving and the fibers in it. It looks gorgeous. Floating backspacer with a hidden lanyard pin back here that's done extremely, extremely well. Titanium milled pocket clip, titanium liners, obviously, or frame lock. T8 hardware all the way around, and the action and flipper tab is so good. Like, I love these type of flipper tabs because it allows you to do basically like a mix between a push button and a light switch. And you flip this knife, it hammers out. It has a really cool sound to it. Not sure if it'll come over the mic, but nice, strong, stout detent, but you have such a large flipper tab and the perfect jimping to basically make it to where it launches out. The action is addicting to me. Now, you can light switch it by yanking down, but it likes to be where you just kind of, you put your finger here, let the jimping take over, and just kind of pull down and push at the same time. Yeah, kicks. The ergonomics are hand melting, very, very ergonomic. Now, let's talk about why this thing is so amazing. Well, the detent, like I said, like, you can hear it. These two feel, I mean, it's a React, so you can expect very, very consistent, you know, quality control, like the fit, the finish, everything is very, very consistent. And it feels like a much, much more expensive knife. I handle thousands and thousands of knives. This feels like a knife that is high-end. It feels like almost like a premium custom. And when I say premium custom, I mean because a lot of customs are rough around the edge, right? But then there's these the ones that are just like the custom makers just knock out of the park. And that's how this feels. It is so well done. The fit, the finish, the action, the grind, the look. It literally checks. Like, if you have a bunch of boxes, check, checks them all. Then, like, let's talk about the S35 VM. So, React, first of all, does a very good job with their heat treats. So we can take that off the table of how good is their heat treat. Really good. Next, S35VN is a steel that can be consistently heat treated. Now, I know some people are going to say, oh, I wish it was M390, or I wish it was 20 CV, or I wish it was whatever. That's cool. And, you know, I do too. In many cases, I do too. But I have much more expensive knives with S35VN, first of all. Number two, S35VN is a good quality steel. It's a steel that you can easily sharpen, easily maintain, takes a good edge, does hold a good edge. Is it the best of all steels? No. but it's a well-rounded steel, and when it's heat treated correctly and properly, like Riet does, it is a phenomenal steel. I'm not mad at it, and I know that that's another reason why they were able to keep the price down a little bit. Now, all in all, like I said, like, it's the little details, man. The little details. The way this is crowned, the finishing on the actual steel itself. You can feel, you can look at it. When you've looked at so many blade finishes like I have, you know a quality finish. You can tell, like, there's a consistency to it. There's a knockdownness. Like, it's so perfect. All the little tiny details in the edge. The way the edges are crowned and chamfered, you know, and not sharp. How the inlay lines up, like how it's seamless. The type of hardware it has. All these little tiny details just make it a knife that has the feeling of an expensive knife. Access to the lock bar is perfect, extremely comfortable, very solid, by the way. I've cranked on both of these, and it is so solid. It feels like a vault. Now, you can see how the lock bar just yanks in the blade, and it is very smooth on the drop. Now, it's not fall shut, but it is still breaking in, but it's very drop shutty. So you give it a little bit of influence, it's gonna just fall. But it is a heavy blade, so, you know, it's going to have that weight, and then you feel the detent and the lock bar pressure all working in tune to just, yeah. Like I said, the detent and the closed position, there's something special about that. The way how stout it is, how solid it is, and, you know, without being too stout. Now, the sharp control and plunge grind, I do wish it was a little bit deeper, but this is a deep hollow grind, so it is very thin, or it's nice and thin behind the edge. I wouldn't say very, but it's nice and thin behind the edge. So you're gonna get probably about four sharpenings in, maybe even 5 if you don't change the angle. If you change the angle, you're gonna get at least 2 or 3 edges on there before you hit the plunge grind. So I'm not mad at it, and there's plenty of room if I ever wanted to cut in your own choil or something, you know, which you could absolutely do pretty easily with this knife. So, you know, those little details, you know, that's where I'm upset if they don't do one, but then they mess it up to where I can't fix it myself. And it doesn't even need fixing, by the way. Like, this could probably go years without ever hitting the plunge grind, you know, if you treat it well, if you sharpen it well, maintain it well. Now, it is a recurve, so you are going to have to use a thinner stone. You know, in order to preserve the recurve, you're going to want to use a 1/2-inch stone for sharpening purposes. No problem at all. Now, couple more things about the other one. So, well, first off, Kaviso sent these to me, by the way. But I almost, and I have to return them, but they might be short one when I return them. I'm just saying. You know, maybe I'll just throw some money in the box. I don't know. I got to do something because I have to have one of these. I have to. Like, so I don't know which one. Maybe I'll return these and just wind up purchasing the red one because the red one is the one that speaks to me a lot, and then the purple one too. But I gotta say, man, this burlap micarta is done so well. Let me put a little drop of KPL light because this stuff is really fine. I just want to take a look at it really quick. If I put a little drop or two on there and rub her in, I want to see how it turns out because it's such a good looking burlap. Oh my goodness. Oh man, I just might have to keep this one now. Oh man, that is so beautiful. You can see what the other side would look like after it's done. Now, yes, it's going to dry and it'll darken up a little bit. It won't stay this shiny without being polished. But it just showed you could absolutely polish this and make it look wet, you know, or super shiny. But, yeah, like I said, I got to have one. I personally have to have one of these in my collection. And it's done so well. And the jimping, the little details, the ergos, the action, it speaks to me in so many ways. They knocked it out of the park, but of course they did, right? Of course Riet knocked it out of the park. Do they miss? That's the thing. Does Riet miss? Now, if the designer does his due diligence, do they miss? That's the question. Okay, so of course they can miss if the designer doesn't, design it appropriately. But I'm just saying though, if the designer does his work and his job, they can't miss. And this is a great example of what React can do. And yeah, like I said, man, this is one I didn't even realize how excited I was going to be until I took it out of the box. When I took it out of the box, it was just like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And I'm still in a honeymoon phase, so I admit that. But this is one that, man, right? I know. Like, it's one that it's not... over time, a year from now, it's still going to be one that I could take. And that's why I love it. That's why I got to have it. Because I know this is one that's not going to grow old on me. It's one that I would be excited to share with my friends. Excited to pull out of my pocket. Excited to cut with, And since it does have a thick blade stock, it is stout. So it's not, it's not going to be fragile at all. This is a tough knife. It's almost like a mixture between a hard use knife, a fighting knife, and a slicer, because it's got that nice deep hollow grind, but it's got that thick, robust spine with this beautiful swedge. You're not gonna have to worry about breaking this tip. Let me just say that. But you can easily use it to open things up or do whatever. I usually prefer a tip a little bit lower, but it's almost centered with the pivot, so it's actually right there in my happy place with tips. Maybe a little bit lower and it'd be like perfection. But anyways, I'm sorry, I'm like going crazy over this, so I'll have it all linked down in the description for you guys. Everything will be linked. You guys can buy this right now. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.